Pathfinder 1E is a major focus of the D6 Damage YouTube channel, and with good reason. The justifiably beloved TTRPG system has won many fans over the years. But with the release of D&D 5e and its own sequel, Pathfinder 2nd Edition, PF1E tends to be overlooked. Now, if you've never experienced an adventure in Pathfinder 1e, this is the video for you. I'm D6 Damage, and I'll be your guide on getting started on your first Pathfinder adventure. I'll cover why PF1E is worth playing, what you'll need as a player, what you'll need as a dungeon master, and finally, I'll cover some of the fun extras that you have access to that can further enhance your Pathfinder experience. But before we begin, if you'd like to take your game further, join the D6 Damage Discord. We have great discussions about all aspects of the game, including character builds, strategy guides, DMing tips, and much, much more. You'll find a link to our Discord in the description of this video. Now then, let's tackle the question that I'm sure is on every new player's mind. Why should I play Pathfinder 1st Edition anyway? Well, first, Pathfinder 1st Edition is very mechanically rewarding. The 1st edition of Pathfinder came about in the wake of Dungeons & Dragons 3.5, a system that allowed for the creation of powerful characters, with deep customization, and set them against some very dangerous monsters. Pathfinder 1st Edition took the tools created by 3.5 and built on them further. If you like gaming systems that reward you for thinking ahead, planning out your character, and really being able to capitalize on those small bonuses to build up the momentum of your power level, you'll really enjoy Pathfinder 1E. Another great asset that Pathfinder 1st Edition has is the large number of high-quality adventure paths. The ones created by Paizo, like Rise of the Rune Lords. This is a classic sword and sorcery adventure. Kingmaker. This is a kingdom management and conspiracy fest. If you're a fan of horror-themed adventures, such as The Curse of Strahd, you'll definitely like The Carrion Crown. Now, if you're interested in being a yo-ho-ho and a bottle of rum good old-fashioned pirate, there's The Skull and Shackles. And if you fancy a visit to Russian Narnia, there's The Rain and Winter. And that's just the start. Like I said, Paizo has put out a huge number of fantastic adventure paths, and you're very likely to find something that suits your particular taste very well. Pathfinder also has some truly fantastic classes and archetypes. You have so many options on what to play. There are the core classes, the base classes, the occult classes, the hybrid classes, and that's before we start talking about archetypes, which give additional abilities and thematic bonuses to your class. Also, the Pathfinder 1E bestiary is very, very robust. The writers and developers at Paizo have gone to all corners of the world to find inspiration for the various monsters you'll fight. Many of them are connected to regions of their setting of Galarian. Like if you go to the Far Eastern-inspired Jade region, you'll fight monsters from Chinese and Japanese folklore. You'll also find pulp sci-fi classics, like the four-armed white gorillas of Mars. And of course, there are more exciting versions of dragons than you could shake a dragon-baned stick at. Finally, all of this is available online through the PFSRD. This is your one-stop shop on the World Wide Web for all things Pathfinder. Classes, races, monsters, items, it's all there and easily accessible. It's a great resource for players and dungeon masters. Now then, once you decide to actually play Pathfinder 1E, what do you need? As a player, you're going to want to pick up the core rulebook. The idea behind the core rulebook is it has everything you need to get started in one place. Naturally, the core rulebook has the core classes. Each one is an adventurer from the golden age of 3.5 with some exciting twists. You'll also find items from standard adventuring gear, like backpacks, grappling hooks, hooded lanterns, and food, to magic items, such as enchanted arms and armor, magic rings, and slotless items like the figurines of wondrous power. The core rulebook has the core races: humans, elves, dwarves, half-elves, halflings, half-orcs, and gnomes. Not only is that some nice variety to pick from, they have some of the best bonuses in the game. Finally, you'll have all the feats and spells you need to start getting into some deep character customization for all kinds of different builds. Once you've gotten yourself a copy of the core rulebook, either in physical or PDF form, you'll need a character sheet. These are easy to download. If you're familiar with TTRPG character sheets, this shouldn't be too difficult to fill out. You have your ability scores, you have sections for your feats and special abilities from your class and race, as well as tables for your attacks, spells, and items. And that takes care of the players. Let's talk about what you need as a dungeon master. Obviously, you will also need the core rulebook. In it, you'll find a chapter on game mastering that covers things like experience points, building encounters, environmental hazards, and much, much more. Also, you'll definitely want to go over the chapter about combat. This is a very important part of being the dungeon master, as you'll have to keep track of all the monsters and their abilities. Speaking of, I would recommend any aspiring dungeon master pick up a copy of the Bestiary. Pathfinder 1E has several of them, each one jam-packed with all kinds of exciting things to throw your players at. The monster entries are fairly simple to read and well laid out, and reading through the monster descriptions gives great inspiration for building encounters. They go over many of the unique quirks that make the monsters really pop on the tabletop. So, once you have a DM and players, the next question is, where are you going to play? In an ideal world, you want to play live and in person, either at a friend's house or a gaming hobby store. Playing in person around a table is one of the high points of any D&D experience. But if you're an online-only group, I would recommend Roll20. This site will allow your dungeon master to create the game, build the maps, you'll have character sheets for players to fill out, and electronic dice to roll. It's also very easy to upload custom things like maps and character tokens. Finally, let's talk about some of the extras you have access to if you want to go beyond what's in the core rulebook. Over the course of their run on Pathfinder 1st Edition, Paizo put out a lot of great rule sets, such as the Unchained. This gives new rules for Monk, Rogue, Summoner, and more. Books like Ultimate Wilderness give new rule sets for exploring huge areas of territory that are too big to fit on any battle mat. And of course, I have to mention my personal favorite, Occult Adventures. This book has the psychic classes, rituals, new psychic ways to use skills, and it delves into the more esoteric things that players can do. Finally, Pathfinder 1E has some great third-party support. One of the real gems is called Path of War. This supplement really focuses on the martial classes and brings them up to the same level as spellcasters in terms of complexity and options for things that they can do. Now, if you've followed some of the recent activity on the D6 Damage YouTube channel, you know about Akashic Paths. This is a Pathfinder 1E roguelike. And if you'd like to see what an actual game looks like, check out our playthrough on YouTube. Also, you might want to look at what's been put out by third-party publisher Savage Company. They focus on monster races with an emphasis on firearms. Finally, look at the offerings of Green Ronin Publishing. They produce a large amount of content with all kinds of different themes and settings for Pathfinder 1E players to enjoy. Now, if you're a Pathfinder veteran and you know a player who you think would appreciate Pathfinder 1E, I would definitely encourage you to send them this video, or have them check out my top 5 reasons to play Pathfinder 1E in 2023 video. Thank you very much for watching. Now, if you're interested in books and accessories for Pathfinder or D&D, check out Noble Knight Games. They have a fantastic selection for you to choose from. You can find them by following the link in the description of this video. Finally, if you're looking for a good old-fashioned haunted house adventure, check out Sorceress: The Dietrich House. Available right now on DriveThruRPG.